Bree Hartman. Bree is a former gym owner turned commercial real estate investor. She's the owner and CEO of Storage House Group and the founder of Self Storage School. Bree, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah,
Talk
I
all the
mean,
things great and
yeah,
Zen.
exactly. We almost killed it in our pre-conversation. I figured we better turn this mic on and get going. But it's a pleasure to have you. And I always send out a pre-form. I don't know that the audience knows it. I really enjoyed what you wrote. I know we're going to get into some of it. But why did you go from gyms to real estate? What was the thing that made you change the trajectory? Because in what you do, they're kind of similar and differentiated between what other people do. But why did you make the switch?
Yeah. So, long story short, I got pregnant. Having like you're wanting to start a family and kind of getting that started. And so, owning a gym, your own a business, which self storage is a commercial real estate asset. I had no idea about going into storage at that point. It was okay. Done the gym business. It was great. Loved it. Went through COVID, created an app, and at the very end, you're like, this is just a jumping stone, right? And so you find out the first thing is like listening to a couple podcasts
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm gonna get into real estate. So I had one accidental rental where that idea is like, yes,
It's one of my favorite terms ever, accidental landlord and accidental rental.
it,
I just
it
love it.
happens,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, should I sell my house or should I rent it? And so definitely ended up renting it, learning really, really fast. Like I thought rentals were going to be the answer. I was like, I'm going to own 20, rentals. And so the first one I learned that you've got toilets, you've got mildew, and
People.
black
Yeah.
mold here, which is actually it's mildew. They just need to slow, like, actually ventilate.
Yeah.
And then a service dog came in about like 7 months in and created about like $8,000 worth of baseboard damage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just creating another job. And so I think to
Exactly.
your point, even just like to your listeners, when you are trying to think smarter, I created my gym business the wrong way. Like, you go in as a solopreneur, you do everything yourself, and you're like, you come out 5 years later and you're like, I swear I will never do that again. Like I
You're
learned,
just
right?
tired. Yeah.
You're tired, yeah, and so, I think being in your mid-30s, I was like, "I wanna work smarter, not harder," and so, that was that big promise to myself was like, if I do go into owning another business, I wanna create it the right way, and it's like
Yeah.
reverse engineering, right? We talked about, like, if you peel back the layers, even in real estate in general, people want time freedom. I do always like to say, like, to break it down if people don't know, the self-storage asset class. There's many reasons why I love self-storage, but because it's a business and it's an asset, but
Yeah.
also self-storage is they call it, it's like recession resilient, right?
Yeah.
So which means that people are always having their stuff. Like Amazon came 2 times today for me, and I'm sure
Yeah.
your wife too, right?
It's sitting outside right now. I know I got an alert already. So
And so just like, Americans, like we are obsessed with stuff and
yeah.
it is sometimes sadly cheaper to go buy on Amazon. And what can happen in an up market or a down market or a sideways market is people always have a need for, hey, I've got all these things in my garage and, someone's like not happy about it. And so what are they going to do? Like the easy button is to go rent a 10 by 10 down the street for $110, put your stuff in there, and it's kind of that easy button. And now storage becomes this subscription based business
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
every single month, you would have to go rent a U-Haul or bribe your neighbor with some pizza to go rent his truck, go, take the stuff out to go take it to another storage facility.
Yeah. I
So
mean, that's the stickiness of storage, and people forget. Have talked about it a lot. It's like it's not that storage owners are trying to gouge the customers. It's just that you
no,
can go up a decent amount, a fair amount of times per year, and the fact that you would have to go move all your stuff would cost you way more than the upgrade would be over a year. So no one ever does it. It's happened to me several times where I'm like, I can't believe they went up again. But am I really going to go rent a U-Haul and move the stuff? And then the same thing's going to happen at another service, self-storage. So it's like the way I look at self-storage as a consumer is it easy to access? Is it clean? And have I had any problems? If not, I just don't look at the up, when the price goes up. It just doesn't matter to me. And that's why the business is great.
hands down. And so that's why, I think you look at storage and there's just many different ways. Like in our facility, we looked at an average, people stay an average of 3 years.
Yeah, that's good.
before they move. And so that's a really great, and we've had, tenants that have been there, clients that have been there for over 10, paying on stuff that might only be like $500 worth of items,
Yeah.
but it is pride possessions that people like, they're like, I want to keep them. They're so attached, right, to their items. And so there's just always, I feel, a need in the storage industry for, more storage, and then making sure that you're in the right market.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing right now is making sure, like I'm teaching my storage school students, more people, right, are moving outside of these urban areas. I know, like I live in Sacramento, California, and there is now, if you look on every corner, there's public storage.
Yeah.
But if you look 40 minutes where new housing developments are happening, which is in every single direction, that is the areas that we call like rural areas where storage is needed, but also a really good way to find these mom and pop owners
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
will have, a ton of value. And that's the thing is this is crazy, but there's 72% is still mom and pop owners in the
Yeah.
storage world. Which means they don't have a website or they don't know how to do price increases.
I really only think leveled storage works in cities where you're used to being in apartments. Like to me, I don't want to. I'm not taking an elevator. It's hard enough when you pull up even at a one level if you're not on the exterior and you have to go inside and you have to key card the door every time and you're doing it's actually a lot. But you need the unit.
Exactly. And so I think and then obviously, like you're talking about like funding, right now. And so I love, teaching like my students, like, obviously the best thing is how do you de-risk yourself and what is your cheat code is yes, can we use seller financing? Maybe majority half the time we can, the
Yeah.
other half the time we probably can't. But I always say like making sure to always ask, right? Empty mouths don't get fed. And always presenting offers to a broker or to a seller that have some type of seller financing involved.
Yeah, and
Um,
and explaining it for those who don't understand, because sometimes people think it's a trick, especially if they're not or even agents, they don't know what seller financing is. I mean, 99% are like, "What's that? Are you trying to play a game?" It's like, "No, you're gonna completely reduce your tax liability." So don't you think, like, being able to explain it to all parties is important because then they realize,
Shoot.
"Wait, it's not a trick, like, this is actually good for everyone if they don't need the cash influx."
Hands down. And I think that's the number one thing is like, we've got all these stuff too and all these seller financing, like, words that are passed around, but you as the buyer need to know how to educate and know how to speak about it. We give our students kind of like a PDF, like a 2-page PDF that they will actually submit to their broker.
No,
Sadly, because
that's
you got to
awesome.
educate the brokers and then
Yeah,
sometimes and you got to educate the seller. And this is a no like and trust,
yeah.
environment where in order for someone to feel comfortable to do seller financing, they need to know about it, being because now they are the bank, right? And making money based on that interest rate, getting it in small monthly lump sums with normally a balloon. They have to feel comfortable like they are getting a deal, right? And then they have to have the opportunity that they chose that. And so it's very much, I feel like, education first, and then know, like, and trust. Building that relationship is like top key, and then number 3, it's, making sure that they trust you and
Yeah.
and go through with it. So,
You can self-manage self-storage. It might even not you don't even need a person, you just need a person in the area, and that's not gonna cost too much. And again, like we said in the start, you're buying a business that's already producing income. Maybe
mhm,
less than it should, but you're buying an asset that's performing. And I mean, at a lower value, and you can just look at it and say, "I don't have to build anything. I don't have to spend anything other than maybe some, upgrades to key cards or something that's better." But there's not a huge spend on it. It's just operational efficiency changeover that's gonna make you a money, and like, as you were saying, you can double your value real quickly from just doing a better job operating.
yep, you're just renting space.
Yep.
Literally, like if a guy who is 75, 80 years old can on a yellow pad with a cash box can make money doing it with storage, renting space out, you are pretty well off on that realm of like doing well, and seeing that value and taking that operations to the next level for customer service.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
so renting space and then being able to have your time freedom and things aren't urgent, like no toilets, no tenants, no employees, less problems is kind of my thing. Like if you can't get into your stuff for heaven forbid for 24 hours, not gonna be that big of a deal, but if you
Yeah.
can't get in your
You don't need
house.
that chess set that bad. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, your house, and that's what I love. Like, I just came back from Greece and Croatia, and the best thing as a business owner is you leave your employees and your, your, workers and all your checklists, and you go see what breaks, right?
Right.
And you're
Right.
hoping nothing happens, and that's how you look at the automation, but being able to I always say the 2 things that I see have success is, like, yes, having time and life options to have a slow morning with my daughter and bring her, if I wanted to daycare at 10 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
that's success. And then number 2 is laying your head down on pillow at night and being like, I feel good.
Yeah.
There's nothing in my mind that's like, oh my gosh, I've got to do X, Y, and Z or something's gonna happen or there's risk of X, Y.